And the snake bit is looking venomous as always over in Chongqing. Of course, my name is Asterix. I'm joined by Mr. Clement Chu to my left, or your right, actually. This is another series to be proud of if you're an LPL fan. Suning are coming up absolutely massively as the super team, and Snake are trying damn hard to at least stop that.
Yeah, and still on Suning's part, no new champions being forced out of the roster at all whatsoever. It's been their fourth set. They've been playing a very select few type of champions.
Sure.
On the other hand, for Snake's side, I like what they're doing in the draft. They had a double flex pick in the Sejuani and the Urgot. Confused a lot of the Suning drafts.
Even the Olaf, technically, until that Sejuani was picked
exactly. And if you think about the draft, technically speaking, they forced a wasted ban in the Braum from Suning Gaming, and this is something that we really have not seen them do so far. I like a lot of what they're bringing on the table.
But for Snake as well, that's kind of what's going to put Suning onto a back foot, is surprising them and clearing a bit of this history. For Suning only dropping one game so far in the LPL, if I'm not mistaken.
To Vici Gaming, by the way.
To Vici, by the way. And no one else has managed to push them into that corner. They are the super team, and a player like SMLZ and Sword Art are still coming up massively. This is not going to be a surprise for all of you out there. By the end, he got a quadra kill, absolutely smacked down. It's SMLZ once more.
And I believe that was the first quadra kill that has happened in the LPL so far, just in the regular split.
I think so, unless I'm mistaken, but no, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, it's the first quadra kill we're looking for. SMLZ, known as the hyper carry to go to. I would say he's much more known for his late game, even over Uzi. He had the most kills in 2018, great on stuff like Kog'Maw, and you can see that even in the Lucian matchup, he's not afraid to just straight up lock the Kai'Sa.
It was SMLZ who once again got our names on our list, but Clement, I think SMLZ was also a byproduct of how this team was going. I mean, Hacker was just going in and SMLZ said thank you.
Yeah, everyone was just doing their job so perfectly on Suning. If you watch this clip, actually SMLZ, all he needs to do is follow his front line and finish up the loose kills. What Suning's front line did there was absolutely terrific. They took down the Alistar, who was coming in trying to bottle them up, knew that they had the Conquerors and also the true damage conversion on the Infinity Edge to just go through Maestro.
Yeah.
They weren't bothered by that at all, and the way Hacker played it, good hook shot and straight into a Hextech ultimatum to make sure Asura had no damage, no say in the fight whatsoever. It was really well played by multiple players, not just SMLZ.
Because Asura could not get anywhere near SMLZ, even Sword Art. By the end of that game, you're like, all right, is there an engage that can get on top of SMLZ? And we got our answer. Kai'Sa getting first blood. There was no way Asura could really make it back into that bottom lane after that.
Yeah, so I think Snake, even though they had a good showing in terms of their draft, in terms of their early game, it definitely does seem like they still have a lot of screws to tighten up a little bit in terms of just the skirmishing part. I think that's where they kind of failed this game.
I think Snake as an organization, once again, it's not a great start, and I always revert back to like 2014 all the way to now. It has been a slow decline with little bumps in the middle where Snake do make playoffs, Snake do make themselves known in the LPL. But if you're not a Snake fan, or if you haven't been following them, for 2019 the roster still has Flandre, still has SOFM, but we've got so many change-ups. Finally lost Crystal, who was one of the original members as well up until 2018.
Snake is a team that everyone likes to be a fan of. They're so explosive. They have a style that's completely unique. You've never seen a player like Flandre who plays everything in the top lane and has that style where he's engaging and getting the most kills on the team at the same time.
Yep.
Very weird combination, and they just have, you know, they're great as talkers, like after game.
Okay.
Like they do.
I was wondering where you go. Like they're great.
I was trying to think up of like a more you know, kind of a mellower term for that, but they really like to boast after they get a win. They were very jubilant after the wins, after EDG, you know, just shouting out on stage and telling EDG to, you know, eat scraps that they left over.
Eat leftovers.
Yeah. They actually said that in their interview.
Oh, wow.
So they're like really explosive team. They have a personality, and they're the scrim gods. They're known as the scrim SKT in China. However, they've just never made it past the quarterfinals or the first round of the playoffs. It
is difficult when you're going up at the start of the split. I think teams like EDG, great showing there. Snake have this rule where if the team's better than them on paper, usually they come out ahead. With this Suning matchup, Game 1 was starting to look like that could be a bit of a trend in the LPL for Snake, but it never came to be. Now we go into Game 2. And
I'm still a Snake fan.
Are you still a Snake fan?
I'm still a Snake fan.
I did not know you were a Snake fan. Well, good luck, Clement, because game 2, I'd put a lot of money on Sooning. Like, this is... There is a lot to provide, a lot of information to provide from Snake after game 1, but game 2 now, with Sooning in the driver's seat once again. We saw that Renekton, what is it, 8 games now, 100% win rate of Renekton in the LPL.
Oof, and that's a really tough one to beat, and it's also not a champion that FLICKR has. I want to see what they do with it. Sooning last game, they had a very clear draft. We're not going to let FLICKR play the game, so no carry champions coming out from him. They took away the Yakali and the Vladimir at the same time, and even though Snake's the rest of the map was able to carry the early game, I still feel like you're kind of missing the soul of Snake. The FLICKR flank, the engages, the solo carry potential coming out from him, the damage.
Where's the Akali, you know? Yeah. Put him on the Renekton.
So I want to see what they do with him. I feel like this is a great series for FLICKR to really showcase his champion diversity, because he's always been known for that. He was known as the light slinger in the LPL, the first one to play the Lucian top lane. He was the first one to bring the Azir top lane as well. That's not in the meta anymore, so
well, not yet. I mean, we literally just saw a Sejuani top, so who knows what's in the meta anymore. We're seeing Karthus, we're seeing Zoe bottom lane. Yeah. Like, there is nothing that's not in the meta, so I wouldn't be surprised, Clement.
Oof, it's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be a fun matchup for both of these teams.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not here to see boring games. Those LPL. I don't think we... On that note as well, I don't actually think we've seen, you know, very one-sided games. I think maybe 1 or 2. Last night, of course, it was LGD. Again, it was TOP, I think.
Yeah, TOP played up against OMG.
OMG,
completely smashing coming in from
But we haven't seen that many games in the LPL this far. So it gives a testament to the middle tier teams. And although Sooning are meant to be up towards that top 3, Snake should realistically still be middle of the pack, or even be able to challenge some of those top teams.
There really are no walkover teams in the LPL, and that's what I think is the most important point. Even with a team, I would say if you look at the bottom of the pile, it probably is LGD. But even there, you're seeing them trying to take new steps. They put PYL on the bench, which is a brand new step for them. I have to say PYL, in terms of statistics, in terms of in-game performance, hasn't really been stepping up, but they've never actually made him ride the bench. And, you know, there's changes happening there, so maybe LGD can even move up the standings as well.
Look, there's a lot of changes everywhere as well. Remember, in the mid lane of Snake, we're asking, where is Andy? We're still seeing Marla. Not that, you know, Marla has had some very good showings, but we still want to see Andy. Doesn't look to be the case here in game 2. There are no substitutes. Snake are moving on to the blue side this time. So the drafting phase is going to be very, very different. And even Sooning there getting the red side first 2 picks. I'm still concerned.
I want to see Andy as well, because this guy was touted as the best Echo player coming out from the LDL.
Yeah.
And after Knight's debut, everyone is looking at these Echo and Assassin players and going like, hey, you know, this might be the guy. He might be the next big thing. We have an appetite for that, but unfortunately, we're not going to see it in this set so far. Mala is still going to be playing the mid laner, and I wonder if he has new picks for us. So far, just 4 champion picks: the Urgot, Zoe, Lissandra, and Galio. Pretty stock standard stuff.
Yeah, force Maple out, or maybe something like the LeBlanc again. Force the carry matchup. If you're Mala, why not go confidently into that Quiet Knight? Because with the Urgot pick in the first game, was nigh impactful there in the mid lane. Maple, even on the Galio, and even though on the LPL, it doesn't have the greatest stats to compare, it's still great for these early to mid game fights. Even late game, it is very, very impactful when you consider what just happened. So we get a question, what is going to be the difference in this mid lane? But let's return to what we were originally talking about, Clement. Top lane, Xiao, and your boy, of course,
FLICKR.
FLICKR on Sejuani. Game 2 of... Well, why not? Do it again.
They might try to. They may try to. Again, I believe Snake is... Oh, no. Snake this time is going to go towards the blue side.
Correct.
So it will be Xiao that has the counter pick, as we're seeing right now. Basically, the top lane usually gets the counter. The mid laners are more utility-based in this meta so far.
Until we see Assassins come back again.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
Well, you heard Riot actually announced the other day. If you go into the client right now and you click on the Silas video, there is a support mage that's announced, and there is a mid lane assassin that is being announced. So
it's been a while.
That's later in the year. I'm waiting for that mid lane assassin. I want to see one here in game 2. We'll still ask that question. Mid lane assassin can be anything from the LeBlanc to the Talon, but Talon's moved away. We'll look more towards that LeBlanc as we go into game 2. Very unlikely the way things have been going, but maybe Snake changed things up in this draft. Like those pick and bans.
Even when Suning is on the red side and do have the counter pick to go up against FLICKR in the top side, they do still respect him quite a bit. You can see both bans going towards the top laner. Aatrox is not a Mala pick so far. And they're going to keep the same strategy.
3 bans for FLICKR in the first ban phase. Suning are dead serious about not letting this guy on something comfortable.
And that's so amazing to me because they actually have the counter pick. They're saying, you know what? Even if we have the counter pick, we just don't want to have him on something that could carry. We don't want the ceiling that he provides for Snake.
Yeah, why give him any comfortability? Why lengthen that ceiling? I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with building strategies. But Galio is the first lock-in for Suning as a response to the Urgot. That can still be flexed. Remember, Marla played that in Game 1. Can't wait for the Gala versus Marla matchup, by the way.
That's going to be a fun one for sure. But Suning going on the early game aggression right now. Galio and the Lucian pick, it's going to give them a very solid mid-game to work off of. And I feel like Snake might have to consider a good matchup that goes up against the Kazakhs. That's what we've been seeing basically with the Galio combination.
Oh, yeah.
Once the Camille is taken out, the Kazakhs becomes the next best option.
A lot of carry jungler threats around at the moment as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that Kazakhs Clement, but into the bottom lane, you move over towards a safer laning phase for Asura and Maestro. This time, losing out to the Lucian. SMLZ and Sorda. Pick is all theirs. Alistar still up and available.
Alistar definitely a big champion right here, but I think that he could do just as well with something like the Thresh, so sure. Actually just going straight up for the Renekton right here. That's how much Renekton's being prioritized.
This is when you know you're confident in the top lane. I mean, Clement could even be Galio top and a Renekton mid. And honestly, that sounds silly on paper, but why not? At this point, Suning just looking so good to start off the spring split.
Yeah, and Suning, they have 2 more bans to throw out the potential Renekton counters. Rise was the big one that we were talking about. Basically, Renekton, because of how his dash mechanics work, he's not very good at against ranged champions that can slow him down on the initial dash. Gnar was a great counter pick to the Renekton early on. Rise is still one. So they just have a lot of leeway to take things away from that. And even though they're showing the Renekton, it basically can't operate as a lane dominant pick still. Yeah.
And for Suning, if they're willing to sacrifice that, well, they're willing to sacrifice maybe what goes into the jungle of SOFM. The Thresh is banned away. Now, Sorda still has a couple of things left up and available. You've taken his time catch. I'm sure he's a bit upsetty about that. Look at the Brom on the board. Will it be banned?
I think the Brom and Morgana both are okay picks in this situation. But what Suning are lacking currently is a gap closer that they can utilize with Hero's Entrance. So, but with Snake banning out the Brom instead of the Kazakhs, they could just go for that route. Shouldn't be that difficult for them.
Never mind. Let's just lock in Olaf.
That's not hacker style.
No, it definitely is not.
He does not like the sneaky route. Like, he's the guy to play all the assassin levels, basically full on, guns blazing, just through the front door.
You could just smack yourself down in Olaf. Why not for Suning's jungler? Change of pace. Didn't really need it, but in Game 1 wasn't as successful. Game 2, a little bit different with the Kindred lock-in and the Zoe as well. A lot of people saying ban Zoe. A lot of people saying get rid of Zoe. And we get to see if this goes all the way.
I really like this comp from Snake. So they had a very good showing with the poke composition earlier against EDG. It's what won them the series, basically. The combination between Zoe and Ezreal, sitting on the mid game, Ludens plus Triforce. It's so easy to get poked out and just lose out. For Suning, they really need to find a way to engage. They don't have a lot of good options right here.
They don't want to engage. They're like, let's just play Soraka. Let's not engage. Let's let Snake come to us. But the thing is, look at the poke. Snake is just going to sit back and say, thank you very much.
That's a very interesting decision coming out from the team right here. So what they're saying is that we're going to use our sustain to stay through this. I'm not sure that's going to work out because at some point you still need to fight back in a straight 5v5. There's a couple outs here. Maybe Suning are saying that our lanes are strong enough that Snake is never going to get to the point where they can start sieging up, grouping up and sieging us. Or they're saying that, hey, top lane Shallow, greatest split pusher in the LPL. We can just get that lane ahead, make sure that Snake never get a time to group. That's very risky.
Yeah, there's some confidence from Suning, but in the other sense, maybe a couple of questions. Never mind that, Clement. For Snake, I like the draft a lot more. This time, playing towards a more common purpose. This time, who knows? Early game jungle, fighting around those marks. There's going to be a lot more contention, one that Snake could possibly win.
I'm not even sure you want to fight around the marks if you're going up against the Olaf. The Olaf with just multiple slows with the Undertow, it actually has quite a decent matchup against the Kindred earlier on. So the way I see the Kindred, it's mainly to keep the majority of their ranged champions alive. If you're playing against a Kindred composition and you don't have a lot of melee champions that can fight with the enemy team within the Lamb's Respite, and you go into this poke situation where they can use the Lamb's Respite very effectively, but your team composition can't, then it's actually very easy for you to lose out on extended 5v5s. So I like the Kindred pickup, but it's definitely not for the early game. It's more for the late game in terms of the team fight, the kind of the trade wars going on between the skill shots.
Well, Snake struggled to get there. It was the early game that they had the most success with. So holding on, letting that poke make its way into the mid game for Snake will still be the question mark. But we move into game 2 with a sense of pride towards Suning, performing so well on Summoner's Rift in Snake's home arena in Chongqing.
Ooh, this could be a flash.
Undertow to the left or the right, depends which way you're looking at it. Hang on. SMLZ now caught out. 3 members here. This is happening. Lucian's in LPL, ladies and gentlemen. Flash burnt by SMLZ.
I just love the level 1s that teams are doing these days. Coming in from all different angles. You really can't use the same level 1 twice again. If you use a stock standard, just 5-point defend your ramp type of style, there's so many moves that can force an early flash out of you.
Really a fan of how this meta is developing. It's not stale, to say the very least. Definitely not stale. You know what else is not stale? Runes and Masteries. Well, actually this game.
Actually, it's pretty stale.
Pretty stale, I lied. Sleepy Trouble Bubble was started first by Marla. I know a lot of people probably coming over from Korea and saying, oh, what's Marta doing in the mid lane? But that is actually an L. You've got to get closer to the screen.
It does kind of look like a Marta. I could see that mistake happening.
We got a big TV. It was very hard to see T's. At first I was like, have we called it Marta? But Marla, very fresh. She's had about a year of competitive experience. And although there's a lot of ranting about Andy, who's had even less competitive experience, Marla has held up strong for his debut split in the LPL.
And he's using his early level 1 advantages quite well. The bot lane from Suning, they're lacking a summoner and also can't really help the Olaf in this side of the map. So great start from SOFM. This is going to be a probably not a 3 buff, but he's going to exert a lot of control towards that bot side.
There's going to be vertical jungle, but look at it as well. Hacker from Scuttle will just walk towards that blue buff. So triple buff, not likely, but look at where the mark spawns. That's when you know you're feeling lucky.
It's part of being a good Kindred player.
But he's going to go for the gank first. Now he's spotted out by a ward before he goes into the brush. Sword Art and SMLZ just walking away. So back to the mark it is.
Short range dance of arrows not able to get him straight into the brush on that case, but I do like this vertical jungle trade. Like we were talking about, the Olaf should dominate the Kindred earlier on, and also the strong side of the map for Suning should have been their bottom side with the Lucian and the Soraka matchup. So Kindred being on the bot side is able to, number 1, avoid the Olaf, and of course, number 2, negate the advantages that Lucian should get in lane.
So without that flash, there is an opportunity for SOFM to come down. He sees that the ward expires, that the Sword Art's coming into reward. Will be called out here. 1 lockdown, 2 lockdown, counter few. SMLZ flashed on before he gets 100 to 0.
Good heal usage out there. His man, it does able him to dodge out on most of the fight right there.
But still, Sword Art the heal at the cost of the flash for SOFM. We're talking about how unstable the Olaf versus Kindred matchup is. That is a very key summoner burnt in the jungle.
Yeah, in terms of just summoner trades, definitely favors Suning just a little bit.
Maybe not for the laning phase, but still for the overall map pressure.
And in this lane, we typically do see the Soraka being able to push quite easily against Tahm Kench. Q's going out, it's going to give her the heals, and of course most of the Sorakas we've seen have gone for the Equinox Max first.
Yep.
Just for that guaranteed damage, the guaranteed AoE proc, of course just for a little bit of lane shove.
But also with the change in meta, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw heal getting stacked up first. Let's see. Shira does have teleport, so never fear, he's coming back. He's actually picked up a tier nice and early.
Ooh.
Marla walking through the
Could be
jungle for a
in danger.
deep ward. HackR, that is a bug, ladies and gentlemen. That is still a bug. He is actually in the... There we go. SOFM is taking his own Raptors, while HackR is finally in the bush.
So that ward was placed after HackR arrived on the scene.
Oh, he's waiting. He's going to get flanked. Maple flashes in over the wall, perfectly timed from Suning. The
No
flash
flash
response. SOFM, like you said, Clement, doesn't have it, so it's easy first blood for HackR.
Yeah, it was a really smart play coming in from HackR, being on the spot before the wards really could come in. They were keeping very close attention to that warding timing coming out from Mala. They really knew where the cooldowns were able to set SOFM up with the gank where he expended his flash earlier on, and just a simple pickup kill.
HackR could have run out of that brush a lot faster, could have contested. But the experience of this team again, shining through. And Suning transition a disadvantage in the early game from losing a flash of SMLZ to another advantage. HackR onto the top lane. Flandre just has to back away. There's an undertone thrown out, so Flandre does know where HackR is. But held onto his flash in that full engage.
And actually, Flandre is still winning out on the lane earlier on. Does do a lot of damage and has the wave shoving potential. So even though Olaf did start on the top side, it looks like Flandre was not impacted much at all.
Expect Flandre to be okay in this lane, especially now hitting level 6. And with Spellbook, it means he can just turn on that threat anytime if he gets shoved out. Turn it into an Ignite. SMLZ, thumbs up. That's the way to go. Obviously thinking that this lane is a bit fun.
The big thing for Snake is, can they actually get their mid-game combo together? The Triforce with the Luden, they want to stack those power points together and just get both carries in the same lane where they can start sieging and poking, do all that fun stuff. The first thing that they need to do, however, is be able to move their pieces out of lane. So that's what we're looking for.
What is happening in the bottom lane? Like, SOFM is just emoting.
That's
what
he loves to do.
Yeah. Good roll. Bubble lands in the mid lane, but blocked away by minions. Good taunt here from Maple. Just touches back away. He can actually survive this, but fear beyond death. Maple is going to die here. Reached back in. Flandre roams down for his own kill.
Yeah, probably did not expect the Urgot right there. The battle of the emotes.
It's a game of flavor and personality. Xiao is going to meet Flandre in this river. A 1v1 without fear beyond death is available, but Xiao just doesn't have the damage yet, opting in for Ninja Tabai as his first buy.
And we've seen this play from Maple quite a few times. He always likes to call the bluff from the enemy mid laners.
He's like,
yeah, I'm just playing aggressive. I don't care. Does get punished quite a lot from it by it, though. We did see that with Xiaohu and Karsa, where they were able to shut down Maple multiple times in the same game.
Didn't have the flash from the previous gank as well, so Maple at least didn't have to burn anything as it was already down.
Oh, did you see the skill order coming out from SMLZ?
What, the EW?
That was a Ardent Blaze Max, just for the potential poke. And it's working out really well.
Yeah.
They force Asura back already. They know he's not in lane. Straight up 3v1.
Now they can turret dive. Maestro is not even level 6. Nowhere to go. SMLZ just cullings under the turret. And this free gold for the bottom lane of Suning once again.
I really like that kill combination that Soraka and Olaf can provide. The Equinox goes down. There is no gray health for the Tahm Kench to utilize. Really smart play and really good champion combination.
And now they're just taking it again. The Equinox does so much damage from Sword Art. Maybe only level 5. HackR in a precarious situation. The flash now up from SOFM, so he gets the kill on the HackR. Maestro has come in for the collapse onto Sword Art and SMLZ. They have to play a 3v2. Now a 4v2, that's right. Trouble bubble, but SMLZ even under turret. Asura, true shot barrage. Doesn't get it with just the tip. SOFM does have the dance of arrows onto SMLZ. 1, 2, and 3. Snake collapsed so nicely.
And you know, Suning, they overstepped. That was just a little bit too much greed for the turret plating. They've already got 2 down. They're like, oh, they already got 1 down. They're like, maybe we can take a little bit more. But Maestro comes back with the Abyssal Voyage. Great collapse from Mala.
Still trading better in the mid lane, but in the bottom lane, everything ends there. Xiao Ao. Fear Beyond Death is up for Flandre. He can dive this, drops the Ignite down. Might actually throw it out if he hit that.
Yeah.
The Chem Drill was going straight to Xiao Ao's belly.
At the very least, would have forced down the Dominus. Good positioning from SOFM. Comes over the Drake pit. Hacker doesn't expect that. He felt like he had the jungle warded down perfectly.
Had no flash as well on that note.
Yeah.
This was not a tasty sandwich.
It's a very good collapse, and frankly, Suning could have backed out of the situation much earlier, but they decided to stay for a bit of turret plating gold.
And even SMLZ in the end knew he was dead. So there was a bit of gold, as you mentioned, from the turret plating, but not enough to really say that that trade-off was worth it. SMLZ, the Ardent Blaze damage now getting less and less as the cloth armor picked up by Asura, but remember, it is actually AP damage, as my brain remembers, so never mind what I just said.
Very interesting way to play the lane. 2 poke champions together. So they're out-poking the poke comp.
Why not? You know, Maple wins the war will be maxed. Xiao out, I don't know. Is he, you know, maxing E? That's the only thing I can think of that actually has range. There is nothing else. It is a Renekton.
Yeah, don't really think he'll do that.
Maxing slice and dice.
Yeah.
Better. I mean, Renekton, here's the pressure on Xiao Ao this game, right? 100% win rate on Renekton.
He has to
If
do
he
it for
loses,
all the crocodiles.
Yeah. If he loses, then everyone will, you know him by the person who lost on Renekton.
Now, the reptile people secretly controlling the world are banking on Xiao
Reptile people.
to keep their reign alive.
A secret colony, or the people that manage to? I don't know which one you're talking about, Clement.
It's just the people that blink sideways, but
Oh. You know something I don't?
I know a lot of things you don't.
Oh. I look forward to discovering your secrets, maybe telling me more about Redemption Olaf in a second. Thought I caught out again through Shot Barrage. Wish does come through. Maestro brings himself across, but it's only the Tahm Kench. Culling will now go in Equinox. Remember, Isabella Sword Art has flash to do it. Maple has his own. Catches the Tahm Kench by surprise. Troll Bubble doesn't land. To help with the response, SMLZ, 1 to the list.
And this time around, Suning do break out of the collapse coming in from Snake. It was really well done, coming from multiple positions, from the river, on Kindred, and Abyssal Voyage through the lane as well. But unfortunately, SMLZ and Sword Art just a little bit too fast for the Snake squad.
Oh, this is just not good to see as well, Clement. Although these responses from Snake have been a lot better from what we saw when they versed Sino Dragon. Should be the game I'll remember from Snake for a while. Suning are still pushing in the turret gold, giving over to the bottom lane. Snake have a small gold lead, but it should be so much more. Being responded by Marla in the mid lane. He portal jumps just to get the last turret plating, most likely before it expires in 145.
Hey man, greed is good. You gotta get every advantage you can find. And right there, Hacker was not on the map, so it was still fine for him to get a little bit closer.
Teleport's being channeled here, so greed may be good, but how long will SOFM stay for this? He might just have to give it up. Equinox down. Might.
He's going to go for the Drake.
What
Can
is
he
his
get
fate?
it?
He can't.
No.
It's just taken through Shot Barrage. Doesn't land it either. So well, perfectly played by Suning.
And that has to be first tower going to Suning as well. The bot lane, Asura was trying to push the wave out. Couldn't really do it with his items. And that's going to be an extra Drake and an extra 150 gold going over to the Suning side.
It just keeps mounting up, Clement. A Mountain Drake for this team. Now, I say that a lot of times. All dragons look good on all teams. But sometimes you just say, look, is this team going to siege? Well, no, but they're going to be side lane threats. Sorry, they will siege. They're pains in the ass to siege. What am I talking about? Of course they'll siege. Mountain Drake, 1 up.
Staying for the tower.
Getting solo gold as well. That's on a Lucian.
Yeah, that's going to be terrifying because you're facing a very, very fed Lucian earlier on. Black Cleaver and the Blade of the Ruined King going to come in early. And with those 2 item combinations, he's the most effective AD carry at taking down Urgots in the meta. Like, an Urgot cannot actually stand towards the culling if SMLZ gets both of those items online.
His only Ninja Tab at the moment. It's going to be a Black Cleaver first. Actually, turret dive for FLICKR in the top lane. Almost takes too many turret shots, but Xiaowao knows he cannot take the 1v1. Dominus was used in a previous fight, so he's out of there. Thought Sword Art was coming up. That was a weird noise by Rift Herald.
Yeah.
Did not know it made a growling sound. No, that was probably turret plating that dropped.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more
like,
sense.
What? It's like...
Like maybe Herald is trying to talk now.
Maybe he's trying to talk to us. Pop away. Not trusting that he's going to survive. Hacker does pop the Ragnarok. So ultimate down as he face checks SOFM. He knows he doesn't have it. The Redemption Rush, does it come in handy? Yes, it does.
We read up just a little on the Redemption. It does scale with extra healing from your healing power. So, of course, the Olaf does get that on his W. Makes the item super cost efficient.
Oh yeah, the item itself is already like, what, 103%?
107%.
107%, which is insane.
Yeah, gives you health, gives you sustain in the jungle, and also scales very well with the extra healing power coming. That's innate.
Yeah.
With the Olaf W.
Remember, we used to see it on Lee Sin.
Yeah.
It was a meta where Lee Sin was playing more of a supportive role. And now that we're looking at snowballing lanes, Lee Sin joins in with that. But I digress to the game that we have in front of us, which is an Olaf with, again, Redemption, has just picked up the Cinder Hulk, and now 1,500 gold lead for Suning. Again, we move forward. Now, Clement to the bottom lane. In the previous game, Ashura did have 2 kills in this Lucian. The one thing that didn't make us talk about the Lucian was the fact that SMLZ had more on a Kai'Sa. This game on the Ezreal, Ashura doesn't have many resources. He's about 20 CS behind. And first item, Iceborne Gauntlet. So going for the defensive path will take a little bit more time.
He really does have to. The laning phase has not gone well for Snake in the bot side. Their only winning point on the map, I would say, would be the Urgot, and it's going to be up to FLICKR to kind of reverse some of these laning situations. He needs to pull the team together so they can really use their poke composition.
FLICKR can get into these fights just fine. He's level 11 now. We'll have the level 2 Fear Beyond Death. He's 20 CS up himself. Black Cleaver with the Glacial Shroud moving towards second item. SOFM walking topside as well. A fight is imminent. Mainly around this Rift Herald, but Dragon's coming up 2 in a minute 20. So something's got to give. Teleport is available on pretty much everyone.
I like the play that Snake is trying to throw right here. They're using the Urgot. He's the only winning point on the map, and they're going to try to blow down this mid lane tower. By taking that, they can then free Mala up to start roaming a little bit. And with Mala's item power right here, it's very feasible that they could get a snipe kill on one of these side lanes.
Yeah, due to Mala having a pretty much decent laning phase, uncontested by any of the junglers. He's been able to farm up, push Maple out a little bit, but again, it's Maple, it's the Flash Wolves, world-class mid laner who's been to Worlds more times than I can count. He's always been able to keep up. He's not someone to be underestimated. And again, just pushes that wave out. He's actually up 400 gold.
Yep, still getting a bit of the turret plating earlier on off the Mala roams.
Yeah.
I think this Drake is going to be one of the big points, because if you're a poke composition, you really can't allow the enemy team to start picking up Ocean Drakes. Snake might be looking at trade on the flip side, which I also think is a fairly reasonable way to get out of laning phase.
There's also Suning who just don't want to give away free objectives at this point, and you can see why. Ocean's going to come up now, so there may have to be a trade-off depending on where Suning go next, but still around the top side, Hacker contesting for vision with Sword Art. Both wards do go down, and SOFM is able to push back out.
I like the back away from Suning, because this is actually quite a dangerous position. They have Zoe over the wall that can instantly tag one of your members, and if that person happens to be Sword Art, he's just instantly dead.
I think Sword Art as well. Only being level 9 is going to be a big issue, but Xiaowao.
Great itemization. We don't really see the, I can't even remember the item name.
Oh, oh no, hang on, I'm with you, Clement.
Mikhail's. Yes, yes. We almost never see the Mikhail's, but in this situation, against the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, I feel like it's actually quite a good pickup. Unfortunately, you can't use it on yourself, so Sword Art himself is still very...
Well, he never will.
Yeah, he's still very susceptible.
Always going to be on SMLZ there, Clement. And No, you're exactly right. It's been so long since we've seen this item. 2 items now on SMLZ though. So the Black Cleave Evolution. And even with the Muramana, Asura does not want to take this matchup, being a level down, and turret just gets pushed in for free, trying to clear the waves, but it won't be in time. More gold for Suning after they lost that Ocean Dragon bot.
Ooh, I'm not sure if this trade is favorable for Snake overall.
Flying Ray so tanky though, Clement. Why not?
Yeah.
Beyond Death's available. And Xiao does have dominance, but he's coming back into lane while Suning do the Rift Herald.
So overall, it was a Herald. Not yet, though. A Herald.
Is picked up. Trouble Bubble lands. Ragnarok is available for Hacker, but doesn't see the need to proc it. Just stands there and waits. Backs with the Rift Herald passive.
So Snake do get the Ocean Drake off of the map, but in the meantime, they do trade 2 objectives on the top side. I'm not really sure it was worth it for them. I feel like that delays their sieging potential even further. You're talking about towers for basically a bit of sustain on Suning. And good on Suning. They played super aggressive once they saw the Ocean Drake being taken away. Just able to take that tower straight up into 2v2.
So Rift Herald, they should be able to break open mid. Should be able to set themselves up nicely. 20 minutes into the game, Baron has now spawned. A much slower pace of game than what we opened up with, but just 2 games of Renekton again. And Renekton's now in his point, waiting for that second item, which could be the Titanic. Most likely going to be the Titanic. What else would you go for? You're a Renekton. You smash these lanes down.
You could get the Essence Reaver for just a bit more flavor.
That's what you said last time.
If you're very far ahead, that's the suggested item.
Buy about 2 items maybe, yeah. Why not? But never mind that. Rift Herald has been dropped down. Mid, gone. Okay, Suning. Do they continue the push? Not really sure they can here. So Rift Herald will get another charge. No. Smite it down before he can whack on the turret.
Well done there, coming from SOFM. Well, one of the truisms of League of Legends is if you're a poke composition, you don't want to be behind in towers. Yeah. And that's what's happening for Snake right now. They do still have a lot of late game carry potential, so this composition is not completely out of outs. You talk about the Kindra late game, I would take it over the Olaf for sure, and also the Ezreal does have very good scaling potential. I want to see if he goes for maybe a second tier.
Zoe's also going to pop people in one shot towards that mid to late. Here we go again. But Marla, not going to be too ferocious in the face of danger here. We'll be able to clear those waves out. But as you said, Clement, those poke compositions, not having the turret is not great for Snake, but at least they've managed the gold lead here. At least they're working towards that late game to disrupt Suning.
The question really is, can Suning keep a chokehold over this Baron position? They do have a very fast Baron clear, by the way, with the double items coming out from SMLZ. They're
going to start the fight. What we wanted to see from Suning. Actually lands Undertow onto SOFM. Maestro eats him up. There was a flash burn by Marla there.
Yeah, great trade from SMLZ. The range was calculated perfectly. Straight relentless pursuit into a Blade of the Ruin King. Forces a flash from Mala. I was actually quite impressed by the range calculations there. It was very, very precise.
Now, question, Clement. Marla does have Hex Flash. So, we saw with Lysandra Hex Flash working. We're not seeing the same with Portal Jump, are we? If you channel Hex Flash and... No. Okay. No,
I'm not sure, but I'm not a Zoe main, so...
Not yet. We've seen
not
across LCK. Even last night, a bit of a... Some of the Zoe plays are disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Knight as well on TOP.
Yeah.
He's getting a 2-piece in the top side.
Oh, yeah.
I'm much more of a Damashian. Like, I don't like magic users.
Why not?
I feel like they're finicky.
That's good, but hang on. Is Kled from... I don't even know where Kled's from.
Kled's
from
raw
Kentucky.
power.
Like, honestly. Kled literally sitting with KFC. That's all I know.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorites, and he's definitely not a magic user.
No. I think anyone could tell you that, Clement.
He's not that sophisticated. Just likes his sword.
I reckon Skull's sophisticated. Kled, we never hear from Skull.
Oh, yeah, he speaks a lot.
No, he does not. Skull.
Dom used to be able to make that sound, but can't do it.
Well, I'm never going to do it, don't you worry. Times are a-changing. And still changing towards a slower pace. Now, for Suning, another Mountain Drake. Eat your heart out. That's fantastic. What's the next one going to be? Because usually this is said, shout out to Vedius from LEC last night saying that it is more common now. Vedius or Dragos, I apologize. But it is more common now that we see those 5 dragons, that we see, you know, a range of elemental, that we do see a more dangerous Elder Drake as well. We have to start thinking about that, but it is still going to be another elemental coming up. Next one, Cloud.
The respawn timer for these drakes have been greatly shortened, so whoever has map control is typically favored. That's a big reason why the games are actually ending a bit sooner.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mountain Drake is the worst thing to happen for Snake. I would be much more fearful of Infernal Ocean, and basically any other Drake I think is worse.
I actually think Cloud would be amazing for this composition.
Yeah, because Suning are lacking on the engage department, so Cloud would be something that they're willing to take. Ocean against the poke is great. I feel like Mountain's kind of useless for their composition. They're very short range. I don't think they are ever going to be chipping down the towers. They don't have side lane control either.
At least, and with Baron as well, I mean, you're not going to smack it down like a Cassiopeia would.
So I feel like Snake got away pretty okay with that. That was probably the best case scenario, Drake.
Maybe that's a question in the draft that we asked earlier on, is that for Suning, you know, we're saying, okay, what's with the Soraka pick? What's going on here? Where's your engage going to come from? Xiaoao and Maple both have their gap closers, both have their engages. One has a better ultimate than another if you consider engages. Hacker does have Predators, so gap closing is going to be no problem, but the ability to disengage here from Snake is great.
Yeah.
Right? As a front line, is going to do more than enough with Maestro at his wing.
I feel like this game is going to get dragged out to a complete halt.
Yeah.
I feel like if Snake don't commit any mistakes, they don't let their players get caught out, they're very methodical in clearing out Baron vision and just keeping the poke in check with Suning, making sure they can't just rush a Baron with the double mountain.
Well, here's the thing though, there's not too much Baron vision. Suning have taken full control around the pit, but with the inside track, Snake say who needs vision will open up the turret in the mid lane. Good spotting there from Snake just to even up the goal.
And we're really going to see if the Soraka pick was worth it, because they did win lane super hard with it, always shove the lane in. And as we were talking about, compositionally, they don't have a great way to lock down Snake players.
Hang on. This is getting started up. There's no vision here, Clement. They're walking towards it, but how quickly? SOFM doesn't know. Baron getting taken down with the scrying orb down. Is it too late? Suning stinking the Baron, still continuing on. Down goes Soraka with the E, and it just gets taken away. Suning running for their lives, and SOFM can't do anything about it.
Snake are trying to chase the Suning members down, but they're a little too crafty.
What a start there.
Oh, and that was the only thing that I said that Snake had to prevent.
Yeah.
Snake really could have prevented this game from advancing if they just took hold of the Baron pit. The trinket, for me, was a little bit late. I mean, you think about the poke tools that this team has. They should have been able to keep better track of the Baron objective. Didn't really happen, and Suning now are able to just start sieging down towers and advance the game at a much more rapid pace.
At least Snake got one turret, but at this point, with the Baron up and ready, Maple sits in the side lane, 3 members mid, and Renekton sitting up in top side, but Xiaoao should be able to clear these waves out fast enough. The 1-3-1 here starts to turn into effect, and for Suning, it looks pretty easy to execute. SMLZ, bit of damage now with the 3 almost 4 item Lucian.
Yep, and when we're talking about a gauge, Snake really doesn't have much of that in their roster either. So it's going to be very hard for them to dislodge a 1-3-1 once it gets going. We really have to see some great plays coming out from Mala. He's there. He has to land those Sleepy Trouble bubbles spot on.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Like to be optimistic here, but the 1-3-1 again taking effect. Now for Mala, that skill shot needs to come through pretty soon. He's up matching Xiaoao, but he's already picked up this turret as well. Trouble Ball doesn't land. Here comes the ultimate in from Maestro, but the 1v2 possible. Xiaoao just slices and dices out.
Oh, gets out with style. And the bot side just completely takes over.
Looks so easy. They're now taking the fight onto Flandre, who's at half health underneath his own turret. 4 members down the bottom lane for Suning. Xiao is still top with teleport at level 17. Next wave's going to come in as well, and this Baron is doing work for Suning.
Xiao just goes, see you later, alligator. Slices and dices.
Crocodile. Nice one.
Oh, gets straight out of the 3-man collapse coming in for Snake. And they lose a lot out of that. They lose 2 towers just off that play.
And they don't have a Abyssal Voyage to move around the map. Right now, stuck in this bottom lane. Turret's going to drop down. Keel actually burnt out, but doesn't really matter. Sword Art just making sure everyone survives. And in this top side of the map, Xiao out with that cannon minion. Maple in the mid lane with this cannon minion. They're starting to break down the base.
There's not much Snake can really do here. They're going to have to go right now. Usually when this situation, the 3-man is the part you really want to focus on. Can they land a Sleepy Trouble bubble?
Tempo seems to be too much. Flandre just running into SMLZ, who's feeling confident up here with SMLZ. True Shot Barrage misses, so does the Sleepy Trouble bubble. This might need an ultimate, but Hacker still feels safe, doesn't have to burn out the Ragnarok. In goes SMLZ onto Marla again, finds the rain. This 80 carry from Suning is insane. Mid breaks down, top breaks down, and when Suning want the tempo, they begin again. Flash with shielded Duran, the winds of war strike once more for Suning.
SMLZ with no emotion goes in Stone Face Killer, forces both carries to back out of his face, completes the 1v2 chase down, and he's going to win the game off the bat.
Suning have an all-star AD carry, all-star support, all-star mid laner. Keep on going down the list. Suning are the super team for a good reason, and Snake, they're an old school org here from the LPL wrong region, but it doesn't matter. Suning stamping their foot here, undefeated.
Oh, and you wish they came from the OPL, because that was clean play. Lots of aspirations for this super team. We really want to see how far they can go into the Worlds arena. A lot of people are saying that this team, you know, they're already writing them in as one of the top 3 of the LPL, and once again, we've got a great showcase. 4-0 in terms of match score right now.
Suning at the moment, undefeated in match score, of course. They did drop 1 to Vici to correct myself, but it doesn't matter at this point. Suning standing up there with FPX, standing up there with Invictus Gaming. And Snake, there were improvements in the series, but like mentioned before, it's been 5 years of this organization. They're now struggling again at the start of this split. There's not too many praises for Snake going forwards, but all the praise in the world for this super team with superstars.
Oh, and just once again, we're talking about the champion picks. They do show 1 extra pick in Soraka, but that's it. Able to play multiple styles, such depth on this roster. It just seems like it's never ending. They can always pull something out of their hat and just win games with that. I was questioning the draft quite a bit. I felt like they were lacking engage. They couldn't punish the poke composition well enough. But mid-game, you can see the power spike right there. They find the Baron, and they just close out the game.
It was just that one sneaky Baron that made the game for Suning. Otherwise, it could have been Snake who moved that towards the late game. Decision-making from Suning, always going to be a highlight, and you can just see the difference of this super team. When it came down to it, Suning made the call, it worked out, and from there, knew how to close the game.
Just look at that damage graph once more. And this is a scary thing. They're pretty much the Golden State Warriors of the LPL, because you can shut down 1 point, but the other players are still going to be popping off. Hacker not really had a lot of purchase in this game. Xiao was behind in the top side for the entire
6k
time.
damage is rubbish, by the way.
Yeah, it completely is, but just that one Lucian with the double Mountain Drake.
SMLZ, by the way, has about 4 MVPs, I think, so far. 3 or 4 MVPs after last game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if game 2 he got it again. Like, honestly, SMLZ just had another great series, and I have to put it towards someone like Sword Art. The Soraka was a supportive pick, but it's just Sword Art is meshing so well with this AD carry.
Yeah, we had a lot of questions with this duo earlier on in the Demacia Cup, especially against Vici. They actually lost the lane 2v2. You know, Uji and Kalua getting their revenge on the Rogue Warriors against Suning earlier on. We thought this looked a little bit shaky, but in their recent matches, it's been nothing but pure domination.
And now for a super team, where do you go from here? I mean, I'm pretty sure last matchup before Suning go to break over the Chinese New Year. Again, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of matches here at the LPL, by the way. So maybe one that's not covered on the English stream. But for Suning, it's just looking so good. Even if they do take another loss before the Chinese New Year. Definitely going to be favourites moving towards playoffs. It is only week number 2. But Suning have shown us so much that they stand up there with a team like IG, with a team like RNG when they bring Uzi back, with a team like TOP.
I think every single position on this team is so rock solid at this point. The only possible way that I could see Suning falling to the higher teams is the mid lane. Can Maple actually hold up against someone like Knight?
Oh, really?
Can Maple hold up to someone like Rookie?
That's true,
I think
but
that's the big question.
I would still be confident in a player like Maple. When he goes on carries like LeBlanc, Maple looks absolutely fantastic. And not that he doesn't when he plays some of these supportive mid laners, but the Galio worked out absolutely amazingly. Let's add another point to that as well, Clement, that even if it's not Maple, even the top side of the map, Xiaoao concludes the Renekton game. 9-0 in the LPL.
Reptile people rejoice because it's 100% for the species, the dominant species right there. By the way, my favorite skin is the Space Lizard, if you wanted to know that.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Also, Suning do have another game against FPX.
Yes.
Is the final game before the break as well. So it's an interesting note to see that Suning will be going up against another undefeated team. That's like another matchup in itself.
That's going to be a tasty one.
Adds a little bit of spice, but at this point, I just don't know how you beat a team like Suning.
Yeah, you really have to. I think it has to be through mid lane champion pools. It has to come through a jungle advantage, something like that. I'd say Suning is good on every single way to win the game, except for the mid and jungle 2v2. That's the only potential weakness I could say.
Which is pretty big in the LPL.
Top teams. Yes.
Now, Suning at the moment, they've still gone up against some pretty contested teams. But we haven't seen, like we seen the IG and Suning matchup?
Ning, Rookie, and XX and Knight are going to be the biggest roadblocks for Suning.
Yeah.
Those are the things I predict. If if Maple and Hacker can win over those two, they're looking at championship potential.
Yeah. They have to. They've already proved themselves so far. As a Suning super team goes, they're definitely living up to the name. I want to take a backtrack to that game as well. And even though Xiaoao didn't get that much damage in the final game, still very crucial towards those team fights. It was SMLZ who was doing the damage, but Hacker had a much better game too, I feel. Definitely a much better.
Yeah, earlier on in game 1, he had a couple mistakes out of position, got caught out. For game 2, he played pretty much rock solid. Made sure all of his lanes that were winning snowballed further ahead. I really loved that play earlier on where he was just waiting for SOFM to walk over. SOFM is a guy that you typically have a very hard time knowing where he's on the map. He takes very unusual paths. But they kept the timer on Mala's warding. They knew that Mala didn't have his ward up. You slip in the jungle first. Mala puts his ward. SOM think everything's safe and good and dandy. Walks over there. Just takes him out.
Such a smart play as well. And that Zoe never got off the ground. Even had a decent laning phase despite SOFM dying near the mid lane. It was Mala who we had a lot of expectations on for the Zoe pick because Zoe, frankly, is absolutely lol at the moment. Like, it's insane how good Zoe is. But to deny one in lane when you're pretty much neck and neck, to deny one in game is a very different story.
Yeah, it's so difficult, honestly. And Zoe versus Galio is typically one of those matchups that actually favors Zoe a little bit. Not much you can actually do against her earlier on. We just need to see what the care potential from Mala is going to be going forward. So far, I feel like he's been a valuable component of the team, but not necessarily a hard carry like the caliber of someone like Flandre or Asura has been able to show.
He's a rookie, but he's got a lot of time on his hands for Snake. It's that development path. Taking another loss here is a bit of a stab in the foot, but they can still bring themselves forward. We got a lot of time until playoffs for Snake, but over back to Suning. We got our MVP, and guess what again? He's challenging Ning for MVP titles this season. This is number 4.
Number 4. So Ning currently is sitting at 5 MVPs the entire split. The most we got last time in 2018 was 12 by Rookie. So they're chasing after that. 15 by Rookie, excuse me.
Yep.
By Scout in Spring, I believe.
Sorry, you said Scout before.
Okay. So I was talking about Summer. Summer was 12 for Rookie, 15 in Spring for Scout. And they're looking to be on pace. It's only week 2 for us so far in the LPL.
Only week 2.
And 4 already in the back.
And Suning, I mean, what's that? Suning have played, is it 9 games?
4 matches, 9 games, yes.
9
correct.
games.
9 games.
So, or maybe 10.
9 games. 9 games.
9 games.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not a bad record. You know?
Yeah, it definitely isn't. And, you know, Suning, this is their toughest matchup so far. They did play against RNG, but they were playing with 2 substitutes players right there. And this is another bit of faith into that Suning stock that they can rise and be a top 3 team. I have TOP over Suning. Raz has Suning over TOP.
I agreed with you. I had TOP over Suning as well.
Yeah, I want to see how it pans out by the end of the split.
Honestly, Suning at the moment, they're looking comfortable. They're looking in control. However, that's one series on to another. Coming up next, IG and JDG. This is our matchup of the week. This is to see if IG can continue undefeated, not only in games, but in series as well. We'll be right back.
Oh, this is the one we're waiting for.